is WVVA in Focus, a weekly program about important issues and events in the two Virginias.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this edition of In Focus. This morning, we are putting the spotlight on artist Dave Alley. He has beautiful artwork. I'm holding some of it right here. It's of birds, and you will see that in just a moment. And you can also purchase his artwork locally, so we will also discuss where you can purchase his artwork. So I'm excited to talk about all that. But Dave joins us now in the studio this morning. So Dave, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Tell us a bit about yourself. Where did you grow up and what sparked your interest in art?
Born in Richwood, West Virginia. Never lived there a day in my life. A lot of my early life was spent over on the corners of Fayette, Summers, and Greenbrier County. The balance of my life, although I have lived in Tennessee and briefly in Michigan with my father, I also lived the balance of my life in the Charleston area.
So what sparked your interest in art?
Oh, I've been an artist since I was a little kid, since I was old enough to draw on the wall or with a crayon or on the refrigerator. And I might as well go ahead and tell you an interesting story about one of my early masterpieces.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Remember the last time I was here with my sister and we promoted a book called Mozzie's Hope Chest. Well, we're not here to promote the book today per se, but there's a story in the book. And should I give a little background on the book so people would know?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Mozzie's Hope Chest was written by my sister as a tribute to our maternal grandmother. Early years in our life were spent under her roof. She was sanctuary to us. She was also my first grade teacher. So we had an art project one day in the first grade. She said, I want the girls to draw a girl and the boys to draw a boy and make it look as much like a boy or girl as you can. So to cut to the chase, my drawing was anatomically correct. She was my grandmother, my first grade teacher, and also my disciplinarian. So one of the few paddlings I got in school, and back then corporal punishment was allowed, was over that drawing. But it didn't discourage my artwork. It just steered me in another direction.
Well, there you go. And did it steer you directly toward birds at that point?
Well, I wasn't the bird man yet, but I remember drawing some birds early on, very crude, and I guess I've progressed a little over the years.
So, Dave, share with our viewers more about the stages of your development as an artist then.
In high school, we didn't really have an art program. So the drawings I did were strictly just something to do, doodling in notebooks and such. And later on, I decided that I liked it enough that I would major in art. I went to Concord University, studied there, and a name that a lot of people will remember, and I remember him very fondly, was Mr. Coyner. Jim Coyner was one of my instructors, the late Jim Coyner. And you know, at that age and stage of our life, I think a lot of us, we don't know what we're going to do. We major in one thing and come out the other end of the college or university experience doing something quite different. Somewhere along the line, the radio bug bit me. I got into broadcasting, and I spent 25 of the best years of my life working at 7 different radio stations in 3 different states, and including a few here in West Virginia, and no regrets. But what Mr. Coyner told me as I decided to shift over into the speech department was, don't give up on your artwork. It can be an avocation, a hobby, something you can do for the rest of your life. And I took his words to heart. I mean, I love art, and I like doing it, and I like, you know, observing it and going to museums and checking it out and so forth.
Well, your artwork is beautiful, Dave. I mean, I have 17 prints here in front of me, and we'll share these with the viewers more in depth shortly. But when you were doing radio, were you also honing your skills as an artist during that time, or did you kind of just take a break for a bit?
I did, behind the scenes, and I did show and tell at work. If I did something I thought was worthy, I'd bring it in and have my coworkers look at it, and they were harsh critics, you know. They'd say, well, Dave, you know, that needs a little work, but eventually it got to the place that they'd say, yeah, you're coming right along. So all during that time, yes, I continued to do that.
So what are some of the materials you use to create your artwork?
I'm a colored pencil guy. I like, and you know, if This is not too much in the way of commercializing it. I mean, I use Prismacolor Premieres, and I like drawing at this point on watercolor paper. Now, it probably happened this way. When I was low on funds, and art material can be expensive, somebody had gifted me with some watercolor paper. And so I was drawing on that, and I discovered in the background, if you'll notice, there's, especially in the skyscapes, there's almost a stippled effect here. And I get that by very carefully shading. And I like that so much that even when I could afford the other vellum or whatever, I prefer watercolor paper for my drawings for that reason, more for the background than for the foreground.
So Dave, some of the artwork I have here in front of me, how long does it take you to do each piece, like this owl, for example?
Some, obviously, some of the work would take longer than others. This was very tedious, very time-consuming, so I spent weeks on this to get the detail, the finer points of the woodwork and that, and even the owl himself. And you know, I sometimes work from a photograph that I've taken. This was a stock photograph I found somewhere. I liked it. I made it my own by changing the texture of the wood a bit and adding a moon in the background and so forth. And so.
Well, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. All of your artwork is, and even this one here.
Well, that's Mommy Cardinal, and to my left is Daddy Cardinal. This is my signature piece, and we've actually, we discussed this before the interview.
Yeah.
Since, and you've had access to some of my artwork before, but the latest development is my signature cardinal has been manufactured or printed as a note card.
Oh, beautiful.
So these are note cards, and I don't know if you want me to mention this yet, but you know, as far as where they're available.
Yeah.
One of the places locally here in this area, down on Mercer Street, is the RiffRaff Art Collective. And they have taken me, no pun intended, under the wing. And they have an art bin with exclusively Birdman of Bills Creek, by the way, is my moniker. You'll hear that again and again. But the Birdman art is there, and they also like the note cards. And so these have sold better than anything else. These were printed, let's say, on a Thursday or Friday, arbitrarily. I'm not sure the exact day, but by the end of the weekend, I had sold 50 packages of them.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it really was. I realized that maybe that's where some of it should go in the future, but I want to continue to do the prints and the 8x10s and so forth.
May I take a look at that? That's just beautiful. And this would make a nice, like, thank you card or maybe a birthday card for someone.
Birthday card, holiday card.
Fill it out. It's, oh, that's beautiful.
And it's not, the only difference is this is not a limited edition print, so I can, in good conscience, you know, I'm not going to do another X number of these, because that would be, well, I have print number 75. Well, so do I. How'd that happen? That'll never happen. But with these aren't signed and limited edition, so I can do as many prints or runs of these as I, you know, have a demand for them, I guess.
Right, and it reminds me of the holidays, looking at the red cardinal. I just think of it like in the snow or something.
A lot of people, I think, have ordered them for that reason. Yeah. It has that holiday appeal.
That's lovely. Well, Dave, we have much more to talk about, so we do have to take a quick break, but we'll be right back after this.
Very well.
And welcome back to this edition of In Focus, everyone. This morning, we're talking about beautiful artwork of birds. I'm so excited to share more of Dave Alley's artwork with you. He's here in the studio again. And Dave, I do want to ask you, is it mainly birds that you're creating? Because you have beautiful just artwork of birds, or do you create other things as well, like nature or animals? Almost exclusively birds. Occasionally an abstract or some other subject, but I'd say 95% of the time it's bird work. And what is it about the birds that intrigues you? I'm just drawn to birds. I don't know. They are colorful. They are many. They're worldwide. There are tens of thousands of species. You know, I researched it. I had the number in my head at one point, but I can't remember. But there are a lot of birds out there. Yeah, and they'll never run out of material. No, and they're all unique too. Like this red cardinal, like you said, it's one of your signature pieces. It's just gorgeous. Just love the colors. Why do you prefer this particular medium of art? It is, liquid medium runs away from me. Pencils,
you have a lot of control, and you also have an eraser on the end of that pencil. And so I can, or I use an electric eraser. That's kind of high tech, but yeah.
And Dave, I understand you got sidetracked in regards to a full-time career as an artist. You talked about your radio career. So remind our viewers how you got into the market of actually selling your artwork once again.
Several years ago, someone said, your artwork is good enough, you ought to try selling it at Tamarack. So I did, and they juried it and went through the jury system. It got 5 on a 5 scale in terms of the jury marks. And so I did that, and then life happens. So we, you know, it ebbs and flows and peaks and valleys, and I got distracted again. And I went for several years and didn't submit anything to Tamarack, didn't even draw very much. And recently, quite recently, relatively speaking, I've gotten back into it. So.
And Dave, for a non-artist, when they hear jury, you think of something in a courtroom, but what's the jury process when it relates to an artist?
Good question. The jury process, they usually have people who are credentialed one way or another, who have a resume. Someone might be a professor, or they might be someone who is recognized as an artist with some reputation. And they sit on a panel, and the artwork is presented to them, and they look at it, and they decide, well, I like this, and they critique it in their own mind or on paper, and then you get it back, and you know, they tell you, hey, this hits the mark or not, and that's a good thing, because if it doesn't hit the mark, what do I do to improve it?
Right.
How can I do better next time?
Right, and that feedback is so crucial no matter what profession you're in to have that. So let's talk about where your artwork is available. We've touched on RiffRaff, Tamarack. Where exactly can folks purchase your artwork?
Well, they can purchase it in the print bins at Tamarack, also at RiffRaff, right here in this area. And the art is on display and for sale at the Putnam County Convention and Visitors Bureau. That's in near Liberty Square. And if someone here listening is from that area, oh, okay, that's right across from Liberty Square. They'll know where it is.
Okay, fantastic. And these interviews get posted on WVVA.com anyway, so who knows, someone in Putnam County might be watching eventually and be interested in that. Now, let's talk about the importance of partnerships with Tamarack and RiffRaff, and just the importance of having your artwork available at those locations and also in Putnam County.
People sometimes will send me a private message, and it might be somebody from, I've literally sold my artwork to people in California. A lady in Alaska, her late husband was a co-worker, or down south, as far south as Florida, and up into New England a couple of pieces. So that happens, but to have a place that people can go and find it, and the thing I like about, especially RiffRaff here on Mercer Street, is that they are a collective, and a collective in the sense that they have, it's people helping each other to promote their work, and it's just like an extended family almost. I'm just getting to know these folks, but the more I know them, the more I like what I see there and what's going on.
Well, that's wonderful. And you also mentioned that you've sold your artwork to people in New England, California. How can folks get in touch if there's someone who's watching this segment online and they'd like to get in touch with you, and they're outside of our WVVA viewing area in Virginia and West Virginia? How can they get in touch with you, Dave?
I'm not a Twitter critter. I'm not a TikToker, but I'm a Facebook guy.
There you
so
go.
this face is on Facebook. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can do so. And on Facebook, private message. And if you'd like some of my artwork, I'd be happy to work something out.
Yeah, Facebook is a great tool for you to, for any artist or someone who's looking to sell their work, to get it out there as well. So Dave, what other artistic projects have you tried? We can talk about that, and in a moment you have some things you'd like to share with our viewers as well. Music.
I mean, I have, I guess that would be considered an artistic project. I've been in a couple of bands, played bass in the bands, and enjoyed that over the years. It's been a long time since I've done that. That's another thing about it seems to cycle back or recycle to RiffRaff, but they have right next to RiffRaff upstairs, they have the room upstairs, and you may have heard of it. Open mic night on Monday. I've been there a couple of times. I take my bass down there, no pressure. And if I make a mistake, everybody thumbs up, that's okay. You can do better with the next song. And so, yeah, I like that. Bands and a little bit of poetry, but we won't get into that. I'm not going to recite poetry here.
Well, that's okay. We'll save that for another segment, another day, right? All right,
Yeah.
let's full circle back to your sister Myra, who you were touching on, and she wrote Mozzie's Hope Chest, and we've interviewed her before for In Focus. Now, Myra lives out in Nebraska, so let's talk about some of the artwork you've been involved with helping her.
Myra is an amazing sister. She obviously wrote the book as a tribute to our grandmother, and just briefly, this book is dedicated to a scholarship fund at the Hope Chest Scholarship at Concord. And she put $100,000 of her own money into the fund.
Wow.
And she's, so in retirement, Myra has accomplished a lot. She's a master naturalist now. She was just certified.
That's wonderful.
And she's the steward of birdhouses at a state park near where she lives in Nebraska. So as a gift to her, and really out of appreciation for the work that she does, I did the bluebird.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
The colors and the fall leaves against the bluebird.
The bluebird
that's
background.
So nice.
And so they maintain the bluebird houses and I guess chase the predators away and make sure that everything is copacetic with that. So yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you have some other artwork here to show us as well.
Well, I have this one. Myra has a friend who is Lakota Sioux, and they have tribal names. And the cardinal is the state bird here and 6 other states as well, all east of the Mississippi, I'm pretty sure. But out there, the state bird is the meadowlark. And so this lady, her friend, her nickname is Meadowlark Woman, her tribal name. So she wanted to commission a meadowlark.
Wow, that is so beautiful.
And I did that for her, and with permission that I could do prints of it for anybody else in Nebraska who would want, you know, a copy of it because it does celebrate their state bird.
Oh, that is beautiful. How long did it take you to put together this one of the meadowlark?
The meadowlark, I did it on the fast track, probably a week or a week and a half, and it doesn't have the ornate background like the wood or the tree or anything, or the leaves. You know, those are hard to do, those leaves, especially this one. That was a piece that I did, and I concentrated as much on the leaves as I did on the titmouse. But that was what I was working on at the time, and the leaves came out okay, I think.
Oh yeah, this looks absolutely beautiful, and you just think of fall when you see this bird in the leaves. It's just beautiful. Well, we do have to take a quick break, but before we go, briefly, I just want to talk to you, Dave, about the moniker you used, the Birdman of Bills Creek. Can you touch on that briefly, and then we'll take a break? I
live on Bills Creek. It's in Putnam County, and I may not always live there. I've contemplated actually moving to this area. I like it here, and you know, I have a past here because as a Concord student, I know the area somewhat, know some people, and I like it here. It's artist friendly.
Yes.
It's almost like an artist colony over on Mercer Street there. So, but that's how that name came to be, Birdman. And then, you know, some people, in a playful kind of way, if you're probably too young to have seen it in well, I know you are in a theater, but the Birdman of Alcatraz. And there's one person who's actually referred to me as Traz.
Oh, okay.
So that's an inside joke.
Oh, okay, yeah, and I'm sure anyone who's seen that would understand.
Yeah.
So, interesting. Well, Dave, we do have to take a quick break, but we will be looking more in depth at your artwork right after this. We'll be right back.
Very well.
Welcome back to this edition of In Focus, everyone. Well, I just love TV magic, Dave. Look at this. Your artwork is now giant behind us. We were holding small prints. Now it's larger than life.
Larger than life. That's the expression that came to mind.
There we go. So as the artwork pops up, we can chat about it. What about this owl? We were talking about it earlier, but how did you go about making this?
He looks like he could jump out and bite me there.
Yeah, he does.
It was just something that I had seen in a magazine, and I liked it, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to draw that guy. So I did. I mean, I started with the owl to make sure that I could get him positioned right, and that took some time.
And what about this one?
The female cardinal. You know, my signature drawing is the male, and he needed a mate. So he got one. Yeah, that's his girlfriend, I guess.
Okay, and I like the colors on that. It's just really bright and beautiful. And again, your artwork is available at Tamarack and RiffRaff.
Tamarack, RiffRaff, and also at the Putnam County Convention and Visitors Bureau.
That's right. And folks can message you on Facebook as Dave Glenn Alley.
They can, as Dave Glenn Alley. Friend me.
Okay,
You know.
send him a friend request.
I don't know any strangers.
Well, look at this guy. He looks cute.
Yeah, we saw Mommy Owl. That's
Yeah.
Baby Owl. And he looks, the look that I went for was that young, startled, innocent look. And I hope I captured that. I think I did.
Yeah, definitely. I like the eyes on this one. It just kind of like jumps out at you. Yeah, and the color is just beautiful with the gray as well. Yeah, wonderful. Hopefully we have time to get to all 17 of your prints I put in here, Dave, but here's the red cardinal.
That's the Birdman of Bills Creek
Yes.
signature piece. And that's something that I did. And the original hangs on a wall in a very special place. But, you know, these prints, my sister has given these away with the book that she wrote. Several of these as a premium. You buy the book, you get the print for free. We agreed on doing that, so that was a way to get the book out there.
And how long did it take you to make the cardinal?
Cardinal took a while. The wood probably took longer than the bird in that case.
Okay. And what about this one?
That's a flicker. That's a member of the woodpecker family, and I just like the way he's... With woodpeckers, you got to add some wood so they have something on which to peck.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I like the woodwork around it as well. And are you taking pictures of some of these birds or finding stock photos?
Some I have. Most are stock pictures or even in magazines like Birds in Bloom. That's a great source. And I make them my own. I try to, you know,
okay.
augment.
I like this one too with his beak open.
Yeah, that's the old fashioned red-bellied, red-headed guy that you're going to hear pecking on the pine tree out front, you know.
And these birds, are most of them in West Virginia, or would they be in surrounding states?
Some are, some aren't. That one would be, but some are out of state, so to speak, not from around here.
Okay, all right, yeah, I like that. Again, the color is beautiful. I love this with the red on this bird. That's gorgeous.
That's a crimson woodpecker, and he's actually sitting on the ground. He's looking around for some wood. He's craning his neck to see if he can find some wood, but that one is... maybe you might find it in the northern part of the state. I'm not sure about that. I beg ignorant. I'm not sure. I think he's from out west, though.
Okay, well, either way, I mean, you can tell that you just took so much time, and the detail is evident in your artwork in each piece.
Now, that's an acorn woodpecker, and I have a friend somewhere in maybe Idaho or Wyoming, one of those states, western states. They saw this when I posted it on Facebook, just on my wall, and they said, that's that guy that keeps me awake at night. So he's from out west someplace.
Okay, and how do you feel when you get these messages, like personal messages of stories about your artwork or just people reacting to it?
Oh, I love it. You know, you get some that are like a sign, like especially the cardinal. A lot of people, if there's a death in the family or someone who they're trying to remember someone, and they show up at the bird feeder or what, now that one's a raven. That's Edgar Allan Poe's companion piece.
And for each piece of artwork, when you said some of them took you like a week, give or take, how many hours a day are you working on your pieces?
Sometimes I have that artist slump and I don't work at all. Lately, I've tried to get back to it a bit, but if I'm impassioned and really focused, you know, I might spend 2 or 3 hours or more on a piece and then put it aside and then do it again.
Oh, I love this one with the leaves.
That guy is definitely not from around here. That's the one that's an international bird. That bird is a South African starling. So it's not even found in the continental United States, or the Americas. I mean, he's from across the pond.
Wow, that's gorgeous. Oh, I love this one too.
The pelican, yeah, and I have, I know of a couple of people who've ordered that, and they live along the shore, so they have it in their, as I understand it, it was either gifted to them or they got it directly from me, and they have it displayed in their homes.
Well, Dave, we're almost out of time here. We have about 30 seconds. Any concluding thoughts for our viewers?
Just thanks for patronizing the arts, whether it's mine or somebody else's, and keep on keeping on. There's our bluebird again.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. I love all of your artwork, Dave. It's just beautiful. But again, you can connect with Dave on Facebook. So if you live outside the area or you just can't make it in person to Tamarack or RiffRaff or the location in Putnam County that you mentioned.
Right. Dave Glenn Alley.
Exactly.
Dave Glenn Alley, like every print is signed Dave Glenn Alley, and that's how you'll find me on Facebook.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you all for watching. That does it for this edition of In Focus. And Dave, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I greatly appreciate this.
Have a great day, everyone.